What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing another minor modification to my 2020 Honda Talon 1000x4 right behind me. And what we're going to be doing today is installing a set of lower door panels to the doors. Now the purpose of adding these lower door panels is to, for one, keep your interior of the vehicle a lot cleaner. And number two, to stop a lot of that debris, such as rocks, water, mud, and so forth, from being flung up under the door, getting all over you. Now me personally, when I'm riding my side-by-side through the woods or through the fields and I'm going through the creeks and the mud, I notice a lot of that mud and water being flung up under the door, and it just cakes my legs with water and mud and other debris. But when it comes time to cleaning your UTV and the whole bottom of your seats and your floor is just covered with mud and gunk and debris, it's just more to clean. So I wanted to add a set of these lower door panels to help alleviate a lot of that debris from coming up inside the cab. Now there are a lot of options out there for these lower door panels. Again, you can get them in sets of 2 if you happen to have a 2-door vehicle, and you can also get them in sets of 4 if you have a 4-door vehicle like I have. Now there are different companies out there that sell them. There's cheaper ones, there's more expensive ones. But the one company I tend to get a lot of products from is a company called Kemimoto. You can find them online. I get a lot of stuff from them, usually through Amazon. But I do think they have really good products at very reasonable prices. And I've been happy with all of the products I've purchased from them so far over the years. And that's who I ended up going with for these lower door panels. So without further ado, let's take a closer look and let's get this started. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, the bottom of the doors down here. So what typically happens is when you're riding in the mud and the creeks and just different kind of terrain overall, when you're turning your wheels, the wheels end up spitting a lot of junk up along the side of the vehicle. Now, as you can see here, you can see the mess that's created already, and I haven't even been going through any major trails. I've been just driving through the fields near my house. Now, keep in mind, I do have aftermarket wheels and tires, and I do have extended fender flares here as well, which these extended fender flares do help stop a lot of debris from getting into the cab. And if you want to check out the install video on how I install these, I'll put the link in the description of this video. But again, your wheels are going to shove so much debris up the side of this vehicle. Now what happens is that debris goes right through here, and then right here is where you're sitting and your legs just get covered, and then the whole bottom of your vehicle gets covered in mud, and it's just a major mess. And another thing to be aware of is when you're driving in inclement weather or cold weather climates, you want to try to stay as dry and as warm and comfortable as you possibly can, which is why we typically add windshields on the front, we add windshields on the back, and so forth. But getting these holes down here plugged up will help stop a lot of that wind from coming up here as well. So to get this installed, it really shouldn't be that hard. I assume we're just going to have to take a lot of these bolts out along the interior panel and remove the interior panel. And then these new panels are just going to fit right up under here and probably bolt from the inside. So we're going to have to get into that here shortly. But before we get started on taking anything apart, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the products we're going to be installing. Okay, so inside you're going to have, looks like a couple gaskets here, and then primarily just all of your covers. And then you're going to have a bag of hardware here as well. Okay, so that's about it. Nothing else in the box. Okay, so then everything's going to be bubble wrapped. Everything's going to be sealed really nice and tight. Let's go ahead, take one of these out. I'm going to show you what these look like. Now again, some of the other companies out there that sell these, they might have their insignias or brands on them, or they might have just a little bit more detail added into the panels to make them look a little sportier and so forth. But I really didn't care about all that. I wanted something that was just going to be nice, high quality, and just very basic. I don't like a lot of trim and fancy stuff on here because it's just going to get ruined when you're out there riding anyways. But these ones here, they feel really nice. I thought they were actually plastic at first, but they're actually like a metal. I assume some type of aluminum. But they are pretty nice and sturdy. They feel real good. And basically, they're just gonna come over here and fit. Now, I don't know which one goes on what side, but it's basically gonna fit right here. So when you shut your door, it's gonna fill that whole pocket. Now, I assume this one here is gonna be for the passenger side, just because it doesn't line up correctly on this side here. But that's one of the front ones there. Here is the other front one right there. And then we have 2 for the back that are shaped a little bit differently. For the back, opening right there. So let me go ahead and start opening these up. We'll get them laid out on the bench. We'll open up our hardware. We'll take a little bit of a closer look at what we have to do, and then we're gonna jump into getting this started. So I'll be right back in a minute. Okay, so we got everything out of the box and unwrapped. We got all the hardware taken out. So again, we have the two back panels here. We have the two front door panels here. I have the hardware, which is very simple, consists of washers, nuts, and bolts. And then you have some templates here. Now these are metal templates. So once you take your interior door panels off, these are the templates you're gonna put under the door so that you can mark the 4 holes you have to drill. And you're gonna be drilling 4 small holes with a 9/32 drill bit, just like it says right here in the directions. So it looks really simple. Then you're just gonna basically put your panels up to the door, use your bolts and nuts and washers. I'm gonna add a little blue Loctite here as well, just to make sure those threads grab really good. And then that should be it. Okay, so to take this inner door panel off, it should be pretty simple. I don't think we have to take apart the whole thing. We just have to take apart the outer panel from the inner panel. So around the perimeter of the inner door panel, there's 8 small screws that look like this. We're not worried about the big bolts, okay? We're just doing the small screws. When you take those small screws out, your outer panel comes out like this. So your outer panel on the outside here is separated from the inner panel. And by doing that, that allows us some hand room up over here to where we're gonna be putting our nuts and bolts. So you wanna take some cleaner or some type of rag and clean the underneath of your doors, because having a clean surface is gonna make the install go a lot better. So let me do that and we're gonna be right back. Okay, so under the door, I have the bottom door panel cleaned. Now we're gonna take our long template here. You want the arrow facing the front of the door up here near the latch. So what you're gonna do is take your template here, line it up on the bottom, square it up with the outside edge, line it up at the very edge right here, and then you're gonna mark your 4 holes across the bottom. Okay, now you can mark it with a pen or a pencil, or just take a nail and scratch it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and use a smaller drill bit that'll actually fit through the template holes there, and I'm just gonna zap them all the way down, and then I'll go back through afterwards with a slightly larger drill bit to make it a little bit bigger for my bolts to fit through. So let me go ahead and do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and I got the first one on the driver's side front door done. So that's basically what you want it to look like from the bottom. Now I did take the outdoor panel off. It just makes it a lot easier, which is very simple. Just remove those outer perimeter screws and the outside panel pops right off. Then you're gonna go ahead, drill your 4 holes. And that's what it looks like from the outside over here. So I added the washer and the nut with a little blue Loctite on each of the 4 bolts. And now we're good to go. So I'll just shut the door. That's what it looks like. So everything's nice and seamless. It follows the body contour lines really, really well. And then once I put the outer door panel back on, it's gonna look really good, and you won't have that big ugly hole here anymore. So let me go ahead and put the panel back on the outside. Let me go ahead and start doing the rear door here, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then we'll stop there while I finish the other side, because the other side is the exact same thing that we're doing on this side. So let me do that and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're on the back door. Again, I'm just on the floor looking up at the back door opened up. So I took the outer panel off, which is sitting right over there. Again, just a few screws around the inside perimeter. And then you come up underneath, and then you're supposed to use this metal template here. You wanna line it up towards the back, line it up towards the front right here, okay? Is right at the edge of right here. So you kinda want it just like that, okay? And you kind of want it lined up sort of at the edge on the bottom as well. Then you just mark your little pilot holes, drill your 2 holes, and then we can go ahead and take our inner panel and we're gonna bolt it up just like that. Now it's gonna have a little gap in the front and a little gap in the back, because it has to clear this piece here and it has to fold in up here. So once I get it mounted, I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finally done. But the back is only gonna have 2 bolts instead of 4. So there should be enough washers in the kit to do a washer on the bottom and a washer on the top. You probably won't need to use any extra washers unless you want to. So let me go ahead and get the bottom panel mounted, and we'll come back and I'll show you here in a minute what it looks like. Okay, so we got the back door panel put in. Again, it's just the 2 bolts on the bottom. So I have a bolt and a washer from underneath. And then on the outside, I have a bolt and a nut with some blue Loctite on the outside. So again, you just want to line it up to where this little notch right here is below this piece right here. And everything should line up real good. There you go, so it's locked in, nice and tight. Again, you can make a few minor adjustments to get it to the exact position you want, but once you make a couple minor little tweaks, tighten everything down nice and tight, put your back panel on. So let me go do that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, we are done. This is what it looks like. This is the driver's side here, so here is the front door here. Again, nice seamless fit, everything fit real good. That's what it looks like on the inside here. So again, everything's bolted down. And again, this is like a metal, so it's not like a plastic. This is actually a nice sturdy metal. Has some little rubber bumpers here so it doesn't vibrate off the plastic part of the frame over here. But again, if it does ever happen to vibrate a little bit more, you could just add a few more of those stick-on rubber bumpers along the bottom here. So if it happens to be up against the frame a little bit, it'll vibrate less. But so far, fits real good. That's what the back looks like over there. Open this up. That's what it looks like on the inside there. So again, everything's bolted on, nice and sturdy. Ain't going anywhere, metal design, rubber bumper. So again, that's always good. So far, everything fits really good. Everything fits nice and tight. Everything looks real good. Let's go to the passenger side over here. I got this side done as well. So again, back seat there. Bolted on, nice and tight. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could probably throw another bolt over here, which I thought about doing, I just didn't. But if I ever find that this gets a little wiggly or it shifts out of place down the road, I can always add a third bolt here, which is not a big deal, okay? But that's what that looks like. Here's the passenger side over here. Again, got the 4 bolts. Everything's bolted down nice and tight. Everything's shut, everything looks good. So overall, my initial impressions, I'm really happy with how they fit so far. And what's nice about the Kemimoto lower door panels is Kemimoto also sells storage bags that fits right in this pocket area right here that mounts to your door. So you could go with the Kemimoto lower door panels and then get the matching Kemimoto storage bags that fits right in this area right here for additional storage. So I think that's pretty cool, and I probably will be getting those storage bags very soon, so stay tuned for a video on that. So that's what they look like. I'm really happy with them so far. So the next test, let's take a quick ride over here in the field. It is a little bit of a drizzly rain day. It's not too bad out. Again, just a little wet, but we'll go over here in the field, ride over there a little bit, hit some mud, and we'll test it out to see if I get any water or mud or anything like that through the door. Now again, these aren't going to be 100% perfect. Nothing ever is, but if it can reduce the amount of mud and water and debris that gets on me and gets on the interior of the vehicle, even by a small margin, I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead and hop in and let's go for a quick ride. Okay, so we're in the UTV. We're getting ready to cross over into the field over here. So again, as you can see down here, the lower door panel does a pretty good job at covering that opening. There is a little bit of light shining through along the front, a little bit on the bottom, but again, there's not much you could do about that. It just is what it is. If you really want to take it a step further, you could always go ahead and get some stick-on rubber gasket on the inside, so when it presses up against this edge here, it'll close that gap a little bit more. So you can always do that if you really want to go that extra step. But again, I'm not too worried about it. I think it'll be fine. So again, this is what I'm talking about, is usually all of this water and mud comes right through here and it just soaks my legs. So again, we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and head down the street. Let's try it out. good. We're gonna go over here. It gets a little muddy over here. Let's cut right down through here. Okay, so I just lifted the windshield up so I could show you a little closer. We're gonna go through this little creek here and go up the hill, and then we're gonna circle back over here, and we're gonna go through some marsh pits over here. So I just wanna show you a little bit that we're not gonna get any kind of mud or water in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through here, and I'm gonna face the camera down in here to see if any water comes through. So let's do that first. Okay, so we got through that, and I don't see any water or mud coming on either way, so that's good. Let's head over here. Then over here, I have to shut the windshield for this one. Getting mud flung up everywhere. So right here, we're gonna go ahead and cut through this marsh pit area here. I'm gonna shut the windshield, but I'm gonna face you down here again. As I'm driving through here, I'm gonna be turning the wheel left to right to see if I can force some of that mud and water and muck to fling up this way. And then we're gonna see if it comes through. So let's get in and shut the windshield, and let's go give this a shot. So here we go. So again, hitting the wheel left to right. Closer look, not a drop. Closer look, not a drop. So far, so good. They're keeping the majority of mud and water and debris out from the lower panels, which is ultimately the goal of having these. And so far, they're doing their job, and I'm really happy. So let's head home and finish this video up. Okay, so we just got back, and as you can see here, I mean, I have a lot of fresh mud and water and debris all over the tires, all over here, all up the whole side. As you can see, it's splattered up the whole side. And look at how much mud is right on there right now. If that panel wasn't there, all this mud so far would be all over me. And I didn't even really go anywhere besides that little creek and that little couple feet mud pit area. If I would normally be on a trail, this whole thing would be caked and my legs would be covered with mud. So this just goes to show that the Kemimoto lower door panels do a fantastic job at keeping the majority of mud and water debris out of the cab. And they really do a good job at protecting the interior on the inside. If you take a look, again, you see the mud right here on the edge, but nothing gone on the inside. Everything's dry, and I'm really happy with that. So overall, my initial impressions of the Kemimoto lower door panels for the Honda Talon, I'm gonna go ahead and give them a thumbs up and give them a go. Okay, everybody, so we are finally done. We went ahead and we got the new Kemimoto lower door panels installed on my 2020 Honda Talon 4-door UTV. The installation was pretty simple. The kit came with everything that you needed. Everything fit perfectly. All of the hardware was there. Everything lined up. I had no issues opening or shutting the door. These lower door panels do a perfect job at protecting you on the inside from a lot of the exterior debris, such as water, rocks, mud, and so forth. So again, we just went on a quick ride and I showed you. We went through a little creek. We went through a little bit of a marsh area to really get some mud. I tried turning the wheels to really get a lot of that mud and water flung up on the UTV, and nothing came on the inside. So overall, I'd say these Kemimoto lower door panels did a fantastic job, and I'm really happy with them. Now again, this kit is not that expensive. You could probably get a full 4-piece set for around $200. If you happen to have a 2-door UTV, maybe around 99 bucks, give or take. But overall, I think the quality is really good and the price is not so bad. So I really think you get a good value with these Kemimoto lower door panels. But that's it for today's video. I hope this video helps some of you out. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and like this video. If you happen to have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And also do me a favor, subscribe to the channel because it definitely helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. So that's it. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you. I truly appreciate you all. And as always, see you in the next video.